This is going to make you so mad.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Don't make me mad. I'm so happy about this lineup.
I'm going to see this person at a different festival, so I can't even really complain.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare. Don't do it. Don't do it. Welcome back to the Sound Hole with Hardy and Meatball. She's Hardy.
I'm Hardy.
And I'm Meatball. Sorry, it's been a minute since we've done one of these. We actually recorded an episode a couple weeks ago, which we might get out as a bonus episode.
Eventually.
At some point. But things kind of got hairy. Life happens. Concerts started happening.
Nature is healing and we're busy. What the hell is this?
Oh my God. Like, let me just tell you, that Smith & Myers show, a few weeks ago, that was the most euphoric, like ethereal feeling I have had in so long. And it was just basically a bunch of dudes with acoustic guitars and singing. But like, you saw my TikTok, like 1,000 people singing at the top of their lungs. I lost my voice the next day and I didn't care. I was just oh.
It's amazing. All these firsts and things we're getting to do again for the first time in a year. Like just over the weekend, I did a little out of town traveling and I went to a place where they did you don't have to wear masks as much rules and all that. And you could do that a little here, but I feel safer other places doing it, as weird as that sounds. So like I walked into a place and I didn't wear a mask and it felt so weird. Like that was the whole point of getting,
right?
Yeah, well, that's the whole point of getting vaccinated. Is like, so I cannot wear a mask, but it still feels wrong. Like I've been so it's and going to concerts and stuff. And I've got another one coming up this weekend. I'm going out of town for, and I'm so excited. I'm so happy. My life is getting back to normal, and and then we've got Rocklahoma coming up. It really does feel good. So
yeah. So Rocklahoma, that's the big topic we're going to talk about today. No throwdown. We want to just discuss the Rocklahoma lineup. But like I said, we promise we're going to get on a regular schedule with this. We're the good thing is we're still young in this podcast, so we can still make these adjustments and learn, what works best for all of us. So we promise there's going to be some regularity to this at some point.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we will get to that point. But we appreciate everybody hanging with us. We love you. Luna loves you. I believe Gar Brooks loves people as well.
Gar Brooks is always down to love and care and cherish for you. So
if you wear a tiny cowboy hat, you have to be a loving person.
Listen, he says, y'all, ye haw, ye to his hall, and that he loves you, and that he definitely is excited about Rocklahoma. He's got his hat. He's ready. He's very Brett Michaels. So.
And if you notice too, Luna's got a new sleeve to her. We got her. She's our official T95 street team now.
She's everyone else that helps us with everything simultaneously, all wrapped into one wonderful plan.
She's not very happy right now because she likes sunlight, and it's been very cloudy around here lately.
No.
Yeah, so she has not gotten a lot of sunlight. I've been watering her, but she's leaning one direction because she's like, oh God, as much sunlight as possible from the window of my office.
Like, I know there's sun out there. Just let me touch it on my face. Yeah, I get it, Luna. I feel the same way.
Well, thank you to everybody that's sticking through us through the uncertainty kind of stuff right now, but we're going to work our way through it. Now, on to the actual purpose of this podcast, to talk shop, debate some music. And today, no throwdown, like I said, our big topic is going to be the Rocklahoma lineup that just came out this week. Some surprises on there, some pleasant, some meh.
No.
But we'll get to that at the end of things. No?
No, I'm excited. I really like this lineup, so we'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll get to that at the end. Now, Hardy, I don't know if you've noticed, a couple things have changed with me. The first thing is I'm standing.
Yeah, I was going to ask, why aren't you being seated and comfortable? This is a long podcast.
You can kind of see the stool back here a little bit.
Yeah.
It looks nice and tall, but last week during one of our Zoom calls with one of our bosses, it gave out on me. So this is, if I were to sit down right now, normally I'm like, right here.
Yeah. Oh no, it does the shrinking thing.
No, I feel like the kid at like the parents' table, the big kid, the grown-up table.
Excuse me, can I have some candy? Hold on, I'll join you. I'll put my microphone up here.
We're getting back down here, yeah.
Excuse me, I need an adult.
So
Thank you.
The fun thing about this is like, these studios are built, to sit on these stools. So when I'm working on like the board and stuff, when I'm doing my show, my hands are like up here. So I feel like I'm like 5-year-old at my dad's desk or something.
Listen, we just need to get you a step stool and then you'll be perfectly set and good to go.
Right. Now, the other thing is have you noticed my hat?
Yeah. So why is there a dead cow on your hat?
It's not dead. It's still alive.
I don't believe you.
Los Valquetes de Vacas de Wichita. All right. The Wind Surge announced a couple weeks ago their Copa Hispanic Heritage alternate mascot and logos and colors. And this hat just randomly appeared on their site. And I was like, why is there an upside down cow on a hat?
I like it though.
Roughly translated, it's the Wichita Cow Tippers. And the colors are this awesome, like pink and green. I kind of wish this was the real mascot and color scheme now.
I mean, like, maybe that's what happens after the wind surge comes through and just knocks the cow over. Like, I feel like that's like the after effect of the current team name to the cow of the future team. I prefer it. Let's go Cow Tippers.
So this is when they do their Copa Hispanic month, which I don't know if they're doing this season. They're for sure going to do it next season. But this is their alternate mascot. And I was just like, oh my God, I love it.
So do you think when they do that and the stadium or whatever, they're just going to have like a guy laying on his back in a cow costume? Because I want that so bad.
Well, I fully intend on when jerseys go on sale, which I pray to God they make, jerseys for us to wear as fans.
Sure.
When those jerseys go on sale, I'm getting one. We actually have a cow costume buried in the studio somewhere, so I'm going to put somebody in a cow costume, and that's going to be... I might get the guys from Lobo across the hall so we can actually do, like, the Hispanic Heritage Month with it.
There you go. You get them to put you in the cow costume and just tip you over, and then it's perfect. Win-win.
Well, it's a small cow costume. I don't know if a full size meatball.
Cow. I would say I'll put it on the cow costume, and then you could tip me over.
Okay. That sounds so bad, but okay. You offered. There's consent there. Yeah.
I've been a turkey before. I've worn a lot of sketchy costumes in radio. It's a part of the job. It's fine. Cow is easy. As long as it's semi-clean, we'll be good.
All right. Broken stools and cows aside, let's talk some music. I flipped a coin before the show, and Hardy, you won, so you're up first.
Look at me. Okay, so my very first song comes from a band called Creeper, and they just released a new song called Midnight. It's great. It doesn't have a video. There's no presence on the internet outside of Spotify, so I didn't want to do that one. Instead, we're going to go back to their last single from about a year ago. It's called Be My End. And I think I like this band a lot, and this comes back to my Alkaline Trio fangirl. They are such a carbon copy of that band. And so they're different, kind of goth rocky, and I really like them. And I don't know, I feel like they fit into a weird in-between category, kind of like bands like AFI and Alkaline Trio, where it's like, is this the rock we could play? Because it's not old. So what is it?
Well, it's that big moody open kind of gave me an idea as to what it was going to be. A little bit, like I didn't expect it to turn into what it did. I was expecting something a little more grandeur, almost like him, like His Infernal Majesty or something like that when I first heard that opening. And I get a little bit of that in the music, but not a lot. I got the idea that a lot of the heavy influences were like My Chemical Romance, maybe some Franz Ferdinand a little bit in there. Just a little poppiness on it.
Yeah, I could see it, kind of dark poppy. Yeah.
But that kind of like mid to late 2000s retro sounding kind of feel, like that's what I got.
The horror punk is what they called it at the time, and I'm a fan of that kind of music. I was a huge AFI fan. I was a huge My Chemical Romance fan, and I like that a band's kind of gone back to that sound, because I don't think that sound is as dated as it could be compared to stuff that came out around then. And so, I don't know. I think the whole record's great. That's one of my favorite songs. I think it's a cute little romantic, dark, awful, wonderful song. I don't know. I love it.
It's very much, what's the song from Avenged Sevenfold? Big orchestral song. It's basically a horror pop rock song. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do, but I can't remember the name of it right now. I hear it in my head. It was a single.
There's gonna be a little graphic right here that says, "Meatball, you're an idiot. This is the name of this song."
Yeah,
you idiot, because it's one of your favorite things to listen to on Halloween. It's all gonna be right here,
right there.
Yeah, right in that spot. But yeah, no, I totally get that vibe from it. I love that song. I like the kind of 1950s. It's got kind of like a 50s rock kind of song structure to it too.
Yeah.
That kind of story about broken romance and stuff. The video is very cool, like rock gothy and stuff. I really like it. It's maybe a little moody for like a major rock position. Like, would I put it on a rock station? Maybe Halloween or something. Maybe
I could give it an October fall rotation. I would live with that. I think it's a fun. It's not really a Halloween song, but there aren't really Halloween songs anyway, so it's the closest we would get.
our Halloween category would beg to differ on that. A lot of Rob Zombie and stuff in there, though.
And you better have the Misfits too, obviously.
Well, yeah, of course I've got the Misfits in there. Yeah. No, I like the song. The video is very cool. It's very very artsy and I don't know what that style of animation is, but it's very, very cool. So there's going to be a link in the description for the YouTube videos if you're watching us on YouTube. But yeah, definitely, I like the song. I really, really like it.
10 out of 10.
I don't know about 10.
Listen,
it's a passing grade. I don't know about a 10 out of 10 because
You're rude.
when you compare it to other bands in the genre, I don't know if it's up there with the AFIs, with the Avenged Sevenfolds, with the My Chemical Romances and stuff. Those would be closer to a 10 for me than this. This is passing grade. This is like C's and D's get degrees.
No. This is a minimum 8 out of 10. I won't hear otherwise. I love this song. I think it's unique and different for the era, and I like what they're doing here. So I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. You could give it a whatever you want.
7.6.
You are hateful.
I gave it a passing grade. It technically got a degree.
Barely, but fine. We'll let it happen. See how it is. Your grading scale sucks, Meatball.
I am not good at math. I just want to put that out there. I am not good at math.
When I was in school, that was a C. A 76 is like a C. So
yeah, C's equal degrees. It's passing.
That's fair. That's better than most of my college degrees were. So yeah, it's great. Great.
I think my entire college degree is based off of, we just want to get you out of this school. You've been here 6 years. Just go away.
That was me too. They're like, you've paid us a lot of money. The least we can do is give you a piece of paper. Please leave.
Yeah, just go away. Just go away.
Home. Anywhere else, just not here. You don't have to go home. You just can't stay at Western Kentucky University.
Get out of the dorm. Stop buying the young kids alcohol.
Yeah, that, they paid me extra. It's not my fault. I was just trying to make a side hustle.
Exactly.
I mean, I never did anything illegal, obviously, if the cops are watching.
Right. You go to the bars and I made more money at the bars than I did spend it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, I got another song. My first one today. The band is called As It Is, so it's you have to look it up as As It Is band.
Yeah.
When you look them up, the song is called IDGAF. Still not sure if that's the actual radio title for it because that is so much harder to say than I Don't Give a Fuck.
Yeah, but you can't say I don't give a fuck, so it's got to be IDGAF.
But it's maybe just say I don't give a.
I don't give a. Just, I don't give a. We know what the last word is. You don't have to explain it to us like we're children.
But it's also so much more fun to just say fuck. It just rolls off the tongue.
It feels good. It feels better.
But I really like this song. I found it. There's a guy on TikTok that actually does alternative, here's the biggest jams and alternative. I think I may have sent you a couple of his videos for reference for this podcast too, because he's got some bangers in there sometimes. I really like this song. It's very kind of poppy. But that's, kind of a trend with all music genres right now. Not just, alternative and rock and obviously pop and hip hop. But it's a sound that I think all genres are really starting to grasp a hold of.
Absolutely. And honestly, it's I like this song. It's got a very early 2000 pop punk kind of, it's like pop punk's bastard cousin. Mm-hmm. It's not really pop punk. It's not going to fit into a Blink-182 or any of that, but it's got if nu metal and Blink-182 had a baby and this is what came out. I like it. I think it's unique. I think it's different, but while still sounding like something you've heard before in a good way.
I don't know if it would classify maybe heavy enough to be on the nu metal, but I do hear what you're saying about that.
It's the guitar tone.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Not the riff. It's that grungy early 2000s. It's still got the poppiness and the backbeat and all that of pop punk, but it's got that guitar tone of new metal, and so it just perfectly morphs them.
So a little bit about this band. They're English. They're British.
Okay.
So they're not beholden to American standards of that's music. They do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah.
They've actually been around since 2012, so they're not quite a 10-year-old band.
Sure.
But they're doing some big stuff. They are full on, and this is according to their bios, pop punk, emo, and pop rock.
Oh,
so
good.
that is exactly their demographic. there's nothing in there that says alternative, which is interesting to me, even though that alternative is starting to latch onto it. Yeah. I think that's a sign that rock is kind of missing out on this, because there's some elements of this song that are very much more in the pocket of rock than alternative.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think that it could fit on our playlist, but I think it would definitely be one of the weirder songs. Like, it would be the one I really like, because always the weird songs are the ones I attach myself to. Like, I'm a big fan of the Offspring song, even though it sounds like nothing else we're playing. But I think it has that same sort of feel of just grandiose nonsense in a good way.
To me, it sounds like a straight up emo song. And I'm not opposed to that, because, emo's kind of making its comeback now that My Chemical Romance is back together, and they're going to be touring in 2022. So emo's back, punk rock and pop punk is back, because Travis Barker is featured on every single track that you hear on alternative radio. But honestly, the best part about this song is that Travis Barker is not on this track. This is completely
surprising.
Naturally generated, like, punk rock, pop rock, emo music without Travis Barker, and that's rare right now. So yeah, it's kind of nice. I really like Patty's voice too. It's right in the vein of like some of those hardcore bands, like Caleb Shomo from Beartooth. His voice is very much kind of a clean, raspy vocal, but then when he goes hard on those vocals, and Patty does that really well as well. But yeah, I'm just stoked that there's an alternative rock song out there that does not feature Travis Barker that has a really cool original sound.
I would bet $10 that Travis Barker is an influence. Like, I bet if you ask this band, like, who did you listen to get this sound? They're going to go, Travis Barker. And so it's like you kind of have like a he's not involved, but he is.
Yeah, he was an influence. Who was that behind you? Like, did we get an extra person in the podcast? What was that?
That's my helper, one of my helpers.
Okay, that's your intern, right?
That's my intern.
Yeah.
He's fixing the stuff I'm not fixing on the computer.
See, they pay you enough to have a real person intern. I got Luna. Luna's my street team over here.
Well, I mean, in all honesty, it's really because they don't pay me enough. They give that money to them. So they're like, listen, you don't have a lot of job responsibilities, so we're going to hire this other guy for the rest of what we would pay you. And they're like, but I'll do it. And they're like, no, we're going to hire this guy. So
fair enough. I need a guy. Maybe they need to pay me less and hire a guy.
No, you don't want it. Trust me.
Oh, fair enough. All right. I like Luna. Luna's pretty cool.
Luna's way awesome. She's never going to give you any crap. She's always on time for work. She's got a bright attitude.
I don't know. She's been pretty gloom and doom lately. I'm not. She's been a Debbie Downer in the office lately. I'm not okay with that.
Luna, office morale. You're really upsetting everybody. I'm gonna need you to chill out, okay?
Maybe the new skin, the T95 merch will make her feel a little better. I don't know.
She was mad you wouldn't let her in the prize closet. That's fine.
That's fair enough. Although there's not a lot of prizes in there right now.
There's not. A lot of concert tickets. That's about it.
Yeah, and those are going really fast. So okay, back to the song. Sorry, yeah. I got sidetracked there. That's my ADD. I really like this song. I think it could fit in the right position in a rock setting. But I think it's much more as far as like the subgenre stuff is concerned, much more in the vein of like an emo pop punk kind of realm.
Yeah, no, I like it. I think it's a great song. While it's technically not our rock, quote unquote, I think it's definitely a great rock song, and I would love to see it either way on our airwaves if that were the world.
I give it 10 out of 10.
I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10 just to spite you.
I knew you were gonna do that. I did 10 out of 10 just to make you do that.
Unpredictable.
All right, what's your next song, Hardy?
My next song is a band that we've played before. This one's a little bit of a departure from their normal sound. I think it's a little different. Volbeat with Wait a Minute, My Girl. This is their newest single. It just came out. What, like a week, 2 weeks ago?
Last week, I think.
So it dropped on Friday. Mm-hmm. Okay, so yeah, I was like, I knew it was within a week or so, but it's fun. I like it. I'm a big Volbeat fan anyway, so I think it's fair to preface with I was probably going to like whatever they dropped regardless. I've seen them live a few times. I always think they're just a real blast, but I like this song because it's got a lot of, it's poppy without being poppy. It's poppy for Volbeat. I think it's poppy for us, but I don't think it's straight like alt poppy. And I don't know. I'm just happy to see him back, regardless of how it sounds.
So Volbeat has progressed more toward the rockabilly side of their sound as opposed to the Metallica stuff. The first 2 or 3 albums from Volbeat, it was Metallica meets rockabilly.
Very chug rockabilly.
Yeah. They have. I feel like they've gotten way away from that now, and they've found their groove as like the only true like heavy metal rockabilly band out there. It's very fast paced. There's a little bit of screaming vocals in there from Michael, which I like.
Yeah.
His voice is very, very cool. And if he weren't doing this, I think he would be in a rockabilly band because I think that's what he actually wants to do.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But there's no love for rockabilly anymore. It's like you would have been really cool in the mid '90s, buddy.
Right.
When we had that ska phase we went through. But
it's not a phase. It's not a phase. I still listen to ska.
It's 12th wave ska. Get out of here. I heard the greatest description of ska on, I don't know if it was Twitter or TikTok, but somebody's like, ska is the music that a middle school kid hears whenever he is told that he gets to have mozzarella sticks. Like, that's what's playing inside the 12-year-old's head. And I'm like, that is the most accurate, amazing description of ska there ever was.
Mighty Boss Tones theme song to mozzarella sticks.
Yep. Just every time you have mozzarella sticks, you're just be like, pick it up. Like, it's great. I'm a huge ska fan. I grew up on all that, and I'll fight for all of that all day long. Maybe we should have a ska off one day.
Ooh, a ska off.
A scoff.
A ska off. I like that. I can do that. No, this song's really cool. I the rockabilly side of things, you got the piano, from the piano.
Excuse me, can you play that one? Can you play that piano riff one more time?
I don't know why my hand's moving, because if you actually do what they're doing, your hand doesn't move. It just
yeah.
And it's only like one note, so it's like Michael Poulsen sitting at a piano just going while he's singing. But no,
accurate.
I like the rockabilly like piano chunk that they do. But the best thing about this song, they're bringing Saxy back to rock music. Like Huey Lewis and the News could do it. Ghost had it on their last album. There is a saxophone solo on this song, and I love it.
And that's, I think, half the reason I picked this song, because I used to play saxophone in band in high school. So it's like, it's a little warm fuzzy for me that I'm like, ooh, a band I like that does chugs a little bit also has a saxophone. This is what I lived for. I wanted this moment so bad 15 years ago. Where was it?
Well, now we're adults and they know we're miserable as adults. So they were like, well, you need this nostalgia now. Here you go.
Here you go. Here's a little taste of something, even though you've wanted to jump off a bridge for a year. Have fun.
Just a year? You've only wanted to jump off a bridge for a year?
Well, I only wanted to jump off a cliff before. I've upgraded to bridge in the last year. So,
Fair enough. Like, it's so bad I want to jump off something man-made. Just despite anything man-made. That makes sense.
I want people to have to actually look at it and understand. Like, I'm not going to go off in the woods. This is going to be a public display of absolute sadness and dismay. So you're going to have to all stare at it.
It's so dark.
This is who I am. I'm sorry. If you expected sunshine and rainbows, please change the station.
That's your bright colors, and like your hair and my hat and stuff. That's all just a cover up for how dark we actually are.
Oh, absolutely. It's really funny. About a year ago, I made a joke during my show, and I don't remember what I said, but I said something self-deprecating because that's my sense of humor. And some guy sent us flowers to the station because he felt so sorry that I hated myself that much. Dude, I love hating myself. It's my best quality. Please allow me to continue.
So he sent it in this like car vase.
It's so sweet. Don't mistake it. It was the sweetest thing ever. But I'm like, no, my self-hate is what powers me. That's why I'm good at what I do, because I hate myself and I have to be better. If I liked myself, you wouldn't like me. So you're welcome.
I think it's hilarious.
For all of us.
I think it's hilarious in the context of this conversation, though, that those flowers of, oh, I'm sorry, you're feeling so bad or whatever, came in a car. Now you're talking about jumping off a man-made bridge that cars drive over.
Oh, it comes full circle.
It comes full circle. So, speaking of full circle, back to Volbeat. We can make a whole episode of just our tangents. It's like, here's the item. How many tangents can we go off of on it?
That's what makes us entertaining, damn it. People can look these songs up on their own time. We're
fair
here
enough.
For this.
Exactly. So I do like what Volbeat is doing right now. They're much more bringing in their Danish heritage because they're from Denmark. There were a lot of people that didn't know that he was from another country.
How did you not listen to him? I mean, whatever, but it's fine.
Rockabilly's such like an American subgenre though, so maybe that was it.
I mean, when you think about it, like bands like AC/DC had such an American sound, and then it's like, oh, they're Australian as shit. Never mind.
Yeah.
So, it happens. That's fair.
But like people don't associate AC/DC with Australia. They say AC/DC and they just assume it's rock, and then us narrow-minded Americans are like, oh, rock's American.
Yeah. Try to program an all-American weekend for a rock station, and you'll realize real quickly how many of those artists are not American, especially classic rock. So
there was this little thing called the British Invasion back in the day. Yeah.
I don't know if you heard of these bands called the Rolling Stones and the Beatles. They were definitely not American.
No, I like what they're doing with their Danish heritage, and actually multicultural, because in the lyric video, you see the lyrics written in multiple languages. So there's like Korean, there's Mandarin, there was some Nordic languages in there, which I think Denmark uses some of the Norse languages as well. But then also that other song that they released alongside it, the one that's not the single. The hook is sung by a Danish pop artist, and she actually does the hook in Danish, or whatever the language they use is. I assume it's Danish. But yeah, she's actually singing the hook in Danish. So it seems like they're much more embracing of their multiculturalism.
Well, and I think that's a little more, I don't want to say times have changed a lot in the last few years, but they have. And I think that international flavor makes them stand out. And I think that's something they can own that a lot of bands can't do, especially in modern rock as a genre as a whole. So it's like they're holding on to the one thing that's really uniquely them. And I love and appreciate it so much.
Yep. Now, I love this song. I can't wait to put it on the air, because this is one that we're definitely going to be putting on the air at some point.
Yes, good. So it is rock. You've admitted it's rock. I win this one.
I never said it wasn't. This is like, this makes me so happy that saxophones are coming back to rock and roll. Like, Huey Lewis and the News set the bar so high with that,
Now I'm ready for 12th wave ska. Let's go. Saying, I want my mozzarella sticks. That's it.
All the music I see on like the Ska Tune Network is all going to come onto T95. We're going to have a ska night.
Please, I'll host it. Let me do it.
Done. Deal.
Streetlight Manifesto for an hour straight. Let's go.
All right. Definitely a rock song. There's no debating that. Volbeat is full on rock. That's not even a factor.
Yeah. I picked an easy one. Sorry.
This might be the most controversial one we do today, though. The song is Dirty by the artist Grandson. Now, we have played Grandson before. He's an alternative artist. But we've established in previous episodes that we've done that just because you're an alt group or an alt artist doesn't necessarily mean you can't release rock music. Artists have done that before. We've discussed it with like Machine Gun Kelly and some of those other artists as well.
Sure.
Grandson had this song called Blood in the Water a couple years ago that featured, the version we played featured Tom Morello on guitar. But honestly, I think the version without Tom would have played just as fine on T95. But obviously, the more Tom Morello on air you can get, the better.
Of course.
But I really like this song, Dirty. It's crushing it all over the alternative scene. And it reminds me of like some of that alternative rock that made its way over to rock radio in like the mid to late 2000s, early 2010s. It's got that kind of vibe to it.
It's very White Stripes, Black Keys. It's like got the hand claps. It's very, very like, I think this one for sure is an alt song. I like it. I like it a lot. It is an alt song. It is not a rock song. And the reason I definitely stand by that is the fact that there's that weird breakdown, like 3/4 of the way in, where it gets kind of like, I don't want to say dubsteppy because it's not that kind of breakdown, but it's definitely an electronic breakdown. So it goes from hand claps, White Stripes to breakdown. And I'm like,
yeah,
Meatball.
Well, okay, so
Meatball.
it's a much more boppy song than what I would typically go for here. But I can still rock out to it. I could still headbang to it. I'm not doing the bop. I'm doing the nod, which I think we discussed on the episode that we didn't air. So
yeah, we haven't. So we have to reestablish the nod versus. Okay, so if it's a nod, that's an alt song,
right?
If it's a bop,
boppy,
it's an alt song,
right? And if it's a head nod or a headbang or something, that's a rock song. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So that's the quick version of what we talked about last time. But I want to talk about how this guy looks, because you get into the video and you don't see him for the first minute. And then he comes on and he looks like a meth dealer. Like he looks like He definitely sniffs dirty socks. And his head is too small for his body. Like I don't like to bully people for their appearance. Like I'm not a vain person. I wanted to punch this guy in the face just by looking at his face. I don't know what it is. And he is not a good looking guy and very bullyable.
Oh, that's kind of mean. You don't want to punch the guy. He seems like a very nice person.
I mean, he might be, but he just looks like someone I would want to give a swirly. Like, I think I can pick. I'm not very big. I think I could pick him up and dunk him in a toilet without a single effort.
Somebody with hair like that, I would definitely give him a swirly. Even if I didn't like him, I just want to see what it's going to do to that hair.
Well, he kind of looks like a squirrely version of that guy from that 70s show that's like in trouble right now, Danny Masterson.
Yeah.
He looks like shitty Danny Masterson. And I think maybe that's where my want to bully him comes from because I don't like Danny Masterson. And so I'm like, you look like meth head Danny Masterson. I don't like it.
But here's my thing on this track. Like, it definitely has a dancey kind of vibe to it.
Yeah.
But that whole last Ghost record was also like, Papa flat out said, this is a dance record. But it was rock songs, and we've established that saxophone solos are awesome in rock and roll. So, that last Ghost record was a rock record, but it was also a dance record. And admittedly, you do kind of want to dance and jiggy do this. That breakdown you were talking about is like a full-on dance break.
Yeah.
In the song. Like the video, if you watch the video, there is a dance break in this song. But I don't think that necessarily pushes it away. And I know somebody's going to be like, but you said on an earlier episode.
Yeah.
Like,
2 episodes ago, you said this song and blah, blah, blah. Listen, every episode's a different circumstance. Do not quote us from last week. We are different people now. Right,
exactly. Every episode is completely different. I am not the same person I was yesterday even.
No.
Like, I think, what pushes me over the barrier on this is the attitude of this song, which is... this whole concept of you think you're going to tell me what to do. I got news for you. I'm going to do what I need to do, or what I need to get done and shut you down. It's kind of the reverse of things. Like normally, when you're up to something, there's dirt on your hands. This is more like, do I care enough about myself and others to get my hands dirty and take care of it? So I love that idea of like good trouble, but it might be a little messy. Like that's what makes me feel like it pushes over the edge of the alternative line into rock.
I don't know. I still think like I have written down on my cheap sheet too poppy. Like that was initially my first reaction was just, it's too, I like it. It's not that I don't like it. I will listen to it when I leave and go home. I know I will, but I'm never going to hear this one on T95. I know it in my heart of hearts. It doesn't fit. You're going to put it in just to spite me, aren't you?
Maybe.
Meatball! Not fair. You have the rights to put songs in and then prove me wrong in this podcast and just spin them. And I don't like this dynamic. I don't appreciate the disrespect you're giving me right now. Fine, whatever. I'm gonna let it slide. Only if you let me play at the double shot nooner. So you have to pull out the other song and then
I'm done. Deal. I'll make it happen.
Sold. I'm gonna be mad. I'm gonna just yell the whole way through. This is some bullshit. It's just going to be screaming that the whole way through the song. They'll be like, Laura, FCC. And I'll be like, no!
I'll pay the fine. This is worth the fine.
F the FCC. I'm just kidding, FCC. You're great people. Please don't find me. I can't afford it.
Don't cancel us, please.
Don't cancel us. This is the kind of cancel culture we don't like.
No, I agree that it's on the poppy side. I agree it's on the dancey side of things, but I still think the attitude, because I mean we have some songs that sit on the poppy side. Like there's some heavier stuff that is pop influence, and then we have a couple 21 Pilots songs. We still play Imagine Dragons. We still play AWOL Nation. I mean there's a poppy alternative element to some of what we play, and it's all about the attitude.
Yeah, and this one, it doesn't fit on an alt station, so I guess it can lean our way more so, because it's like, I can't hear this on an alt station, but I could hear it. Which is
actually, alternative stations are just crushing it right now with it.
It's like, hilarious.
That song and the Monsters from All Time Low and whatever the other song is that they've got out right now, like, alternative is all over that, and I'm just like, I feel like we're missing out. Like, rock needs to be on this.
Yeah, well, especially because rock's a very slow-moving genre, so we should really embrace some of the more... Because alt is still rock. Oh, my God. That's what it drives me nuts that we separate ourselves so much, because that would be like if country music took all of the Florida-Georgia lines and took them away from the like, John Parties and tried to say it was two different genres. It's like, no, it's all the same stuff. We're just splintering ourselves right now. And,
Well,
and I get that people don't like both of those.
Just remember that grunge got its start on alternative. Like, rock wasn't embracing it at the time. They were still stuck in the 80s with the hair metal stuff. And then this came along, and they were playing like, Alanis Morissette or whatever, Hootie and the Blowfish. This is rock. No, it's not. This is terrible.
No, it's awful.
Right. But grunge got its start on its own. Like, that's where the alternative format was born, with grunge. And now we own, rock should own 99% of the grunge style of music, because that is alternative rock. And I feel like this is alternative rock.
Yeah, I could see it. I guess. I still lean not rock. I'm going to give this one a 6 out of 10.
I might
in
give
the rock category, but in the I like it category, it gets a 9 out of 10.
Okay, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10, and then coming soon, double shot of Grandson with Hardy on the midday.
Expect that next week sometime, probably.
All right, done. All right, so we got some big news this week. As of recording this, the lineup for Rocklahoma came out, and there's some big names, and there's some interesting ones there as well. One of which we actually just talked about. Grandson is on this lineup at Rocklahoma, Hardy.
Rocklahoma is... Okay, listen. I am very...
It's not alternative Lahoma.
Yeah, but there's some stuff on there I'm not counting as rock. Hold on, I got to pull up the full list so I can actually yell about this. Okay, so there's a lot of really great stuff on Rocklahoma this year. Like, you can't count the Who as... And I'm not talking about the HW... Oh, I'm talking about
This is the Who.
This is the Who, HU.
Yeah.
Not a rock band.
Really? You don't think Who is like Mongolian metal?
No, I think it's like weird
cultural Mongolian music put to heavy guitars.
Yeah. I think it's a little grindy, but I don't think it's. I don't know. They're more experimental. They get into more like, I don't want to say acid rock because it's not that way, but it's like acid metal. Acid metal? Is that even a... I made up the genre.
I'm sure that's a subgenre somewhere with like 3 bands and 12 songs or something. There's a subgenre for everything, No, I like the Who. I'm really excited to see them because some of their stuff doesn't translate on radio as well because it is in Mongolian. But then, Rammstein's Du Hast, that's in German.
And no one cares about that. We all know what we think are the words.
Right. Oh, yeah. I'm just screaming vowels and syllables that sound close enough,
Yeah.
I lost my voice after going to a Rammstein show, and I'm almost certain I got not even half the lyrics even remotely close.
You don't have to. No one knows. No one there speaking German except for them, and they can't hear you on stage, so it's fine.
But then you talk about the success, too, of Slaughter to Prevail right now in the deathcore scene. Half of their stuff's in Russian. Yeah. And people love that. So I feel there's an issue with the translation there with the Mongolian stuff that they do. But I love that they introduce the cultural instruments from Mongolia into what they do and the throat singing stuff. It's super cool. And they were supposed to be on Rocklahoma last year. Obviously that got canceled. So that makes me more excited to see them this year because apparently their live show is if this is a normal band's live show, they're through the roof.
I'm so excited. So, okay, with the new lineup, obviously, if you haven't seen it, it is up on our social media. Go check out T95 on Facebook, Insta, Twitter. It's all up there. Just scroll back a couple of days from the announce, actually on Tuesday. But who are you most excited about, and who are you mad they didn't come?
Interesting. Well, Limp Bizkit is by far the one I'm most excited about.
I know!
Okay, so I've been talking to some of the other radio stations that are going to be there with us, which we haven't got our media credentials yet, so I'm, fingers crossed, all that stuff comes back and we're all set to go.
Sure.
But I have a lot of friends that work with the other radio stations there. I don't know what day Limp Bizkit is. I'm assuming on Sunday, but our plan is the day Limp Bizkit plays, we're all going to be wearing red Yankees caps and different Fred Durst attire and stuff. Everyone's talking about wearing the red Yankees cap. So there's 80 Fred Durst running around backstage. I kind of want to go because of the beard. I want to go with Fred Durst when he had the big beard and the camo bucket hat.
I was going to say, you have to be bucket hat Fred Durst. That's required.
And the batting gloves. You have to wear the batting gloves, a baseball jersey or a hockey jersey of some kind, and then the camo bucket hat.
See, I want to be the Faith Limp Bizkit with the red Yankees hat and the the track pants and that whole deal.
Yeah.
I'm leaning more that way personally, and I'm gonna have to get a red Yankees cap, is what you're telling me, and I'm totally fine with
it's
that.
not like we were talking about Yankees caps, but I was just like, I think you could just wear a red hat because I swear I've seen him wear like Angels hats and Rangers hats and stuff. It just has to be a red hat.
Yeah, it just has to be red and backwards. That's all it really matters.
Yeah,
People will get what you're going for.
Yeah, it's got to be red backwards and have a Major League Baseball logo right in the middle of your forehead.
Well, it's funny. The last festival I went to before everything went sideways was Louder Than Life back in Louisville, Kentucky, and Guns N' Roses headlined Saturday night that year. So me and my friend dressed up as Slash and Axl, and everybody lost their minds because I don't look like Slash, obviously, but I had a top hat and I had the sunglasses on, and people knew exactly what I was going for because it was miserably hot outside. So if you're wearing a top hat, you're committed as fuck at that point. So, that was really cool, and that's a fun thing to do. I'm wondering if it's not going to be everyone at the whole festival wearing red baseball caps that day.
Oh, I'm sure everybody. Yeah. Oh, I'm sure everybody was like, Fred Durst. And then you're going to see Wes Borland face makeup, and you're going to see red baseball caps everywhere. It's just going to look like a sea of like red little dots out in the crowd, like 80,000 little red dots.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So who are you sad is it going to be there?
I'm actually pretty happy with this lineup. Like if there's one band that I was like, damn, I really wish they were here, it'd be Mudvayne. But I know that's such a limited like capacity for them. Like I know that they've all got their own projects going on. And so, that was just kind of like I don't want to say a one-off. Maybe it's like the start of something else for them. But I really would have loved to see Mudvayne. I want to get to this in a little bit. I want to know who you're most excited for and who you're kind of bummed about.
I've got a two-way tie, I think, on mine. I'm really excited to see Knocked Loose again. They're from where I'm from, so it's like they're hometown boys. I got a lot of love for Knocked Loose. I watched their live stream a month or two ago, and it was just, I just want to go and punch people. I'm ready. I'm ready for Knocked Loose. I'm super ready for Pop Evil. I'm super ready for Andrew WK again because I've seen him multiple times. If you don't know Andrew WK or haven't been to an Andrew WK show, it doesn't matter. It is the most fun you will ever have in a crowd, even if you don't know a single lyric of a single song.
I called Todd and Tyler about that because they were talking about Andrew WK Party Hard a few weeks ago or like a month ago or something like that. And I was like, I've met Andrew WK, and as far as I know, he is straight laced. Like he is not anymore, at least. He doesn't drink and he doesn't do drugs or anything like that. But that dude is off his rocker at all times. And when he talks about partying hard, he parties hard all the time.
Yep.
And that show, I remember at Rocklahoma that year, like that show was insane. And I knew one song and it was Party Hard. I didn't know a single one of the other songs. I just knew the word party was in every single one of them.
That's all you need to know. Just yell party a bunch. You'll fit in great. With Andrew WK, I had the opportunity, and it's still to this day my favorite interview I ever did with an artist. I got to interview him behind the scenes at Warped Tour, and he's so strange. Yeah. He's the nicest human. But the publication I worked with at the time, because I did radio, but I also did an online blog called Under the Gun with my friend who does high notes. But I was there to interview him, and my last question was always, if you could you get 30 seconds to say whatever you want, talk about whatever cause you want, just do that. And so I was like, okay, Andrew WK, what do you want to talk about? And he was like, did you know that when you find a feral cat, you can pick it up by the back of its nape and that auto tames it? And that's how you capture a cat and let it free somewhere else. So make sure you take care of cats. And I was just like, where the hell did that come from? Like, he's right. That is how you deal with a cat. You pick it up by the back of its neck and move it. But like, you could have talked about anything at your WK. You could have promoted an album. You could have talked about like your upcoming tour. No, you wanted to tell us all how to pick up a cat and make sure that it doesn't bite you.
Yeah, I remember. I remember my interview. I was with a different radio station at the time when I talked to him, but I remember that interview being one of the most unique that I've ever done. And I remember him walking away from that interview. We did everything. I hit all my points, but I felt like I was just completely derailing any momentum every time I asked a new question because I was like, okay, that did not go anywhere near where I expected it to.
No, but that's what I love about him. And I just think he was also the nicest ever because my best friend was filming it because it was a video interview. So I had handed her my camera. And at the end of the interview, he had an Arizona iced tea and they were just giving those away on Warped Tour that year. And he's like, hey, here you guys go, have this. And he just gave us his like artist tea and then just walked away. And we were just like, what just happened? Like, that's the guy from Adult Swim.
Yeah, that's right.
He's wearing the same outfit he wears on the album covers. Like that's him. And now he's engaged to Kat Denning, who's
that makes me so mad. That makes me so mad.
I think they're the great. That's their dream couple goals. I love them. I want to be the Kat Denning to someone's Andrew WK so bad.
But I love Kat Dennings. Kat Dennings was my dream.
Well, maybe if you party harder and break your nose and sell a bunch of records, you can too.
I've done 2 out of the 3.
2 out of 3. Well, and there's this whole conspiracy theory about Andrew WK about how there's like multiple Andrew WKs. Have you heard of this?
Yes, I've heard that. I heard that the other day and it blew my mind.
It's stupid. I think he's just one of those people that doesn't look the same in photos, because I'm one of those people where depending on which angle you take a photo of me, I look like 4 different people. And I think he's like me in that regard, in that he just gets... this dude, he's too weird. There can't be 4 of those. I'm sorry.
I don't think he exists on the same plane as the rest of us. Like, he's not just a normal human being. He is some extraterrestrial from some other dimension that, like, just, he comes into our lives, completely changes everything. Because I remember after he left that interview, I was like, did I just have an existential crisis? Like, what just happened here?
Well, and I think maybe that's what the government reports that they're going to release about UFOs later this month. It's just Andrew WK.
It's just Andrew WK's travel, like it's just his tour schedule. That's where they saw the UFOs.
The flying things, that's just his tour bus. You didn't know. It's fine. He's just getting around. Leave him alone. Oreo will give him the free cookies. It'll be fine. It's fine.
So who are you most disappointed that isn't on this list, that maybe is on a bunch of other festivals?
This is going to make you so mad.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Don't make me mad. I'm so happy about this lineup.
I'm going to see this person at a different festival, so I can't even really complain.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Machine Gun Kelly.
This is...
Listen, I'm already getting 2 nights of Metallica at Louder Than Life, and I'm getting Machine Gun Kelly there. But honestly, I really think that if more people saw him live and actually had to face his music, I think he would be accepted more. And that's why I want him on this festival, not because he necessarily fits with a lot of the other bands. I will acknowledge that. I think the new Justin Bieber record's more rock than this is. But I think he's one of those acts that's going to change music if people see him. And the only way they're going to see him is if they put him in festivals. And I know that's trickery, but that's what I want.
Well, this actually happened at the last Rocklahoma. Machine Gun Kelly performed. And
what happened?
I didn't get to see it. I was very upset because I was more interested in Tech 9 performing.
Which, holy crap, I would be too. I love Tech 9, so that's acceptable.
Yeah, so I went over and saw Tech 9. That was amazing because I knew about Tech 9. Machine Gun Kelly was the one, because it was like Machine Gun Kelly and Yellow Wolf was on that one. I was like, okay, this is a rock festival. Why are there rappers here? But that was before I really kind of knew what that whole movement was about in hip hop at that time.
Sure.
That it wasn't actually hip hop. It was much more rock mentality kind of stuff. So I saw some of the photos and videos after his show and him shooting these giant confetti cannons out on people. And like, I heard him on the video and I was just like, damn, man, like, okay, maybe I need to pay more attention to this. And then he releases like one of my favorite pop rock records in history. Like,
and that's what I think it is. I think people just need to be warmed up and face it. I think a lot of artists are that way, where people want to be shitty about it and they want to be too cool for it. And I think once you actually experience it, you quit being an asshole and you can enjoy it. And I think Machine Gun Kelly's one of those people, they need to put him on more festivals so he's forced out into the world against people's will. And I know that sounds awful. You don't want to force things, but I think he's one of those acts that will convert people. And I want to see him as much as possible. So like, it would have either been him, or I would have really liked to seen Korn on the lineup too, just because I know that they've been doing some festivals, and I just, they're one of those bands I keep missing. Like, I get so close to seeing Korn, and then like there's 2 festivals that have been canceled that they were on that I was supposed to go to between coronavirus, and then Louder Than Life had problems with flooding for a few years. And so one of the years they were supposed to be on it flooded. And so I just want to see Korn.
Korn filled in for somebody, and I'm blanking on who they filled in for. I think it was the last Rocklahoma. I'm pretty sure it was the last Rocklahoma. They filled in for one of the headliners that couldn't come. Ozzy. It was Ozzy.
Oh, cool.
Ozzy couldn't be there because of his health issues. So Korn filled in for that show, and it was really good, except I was watching Korn from about a half mile back from the stage. So I could barely see anything.
But they're one of those bands, just being in the room's good enough.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Well, and then we got them. They were here in February at Intrust in 2020. So I was just like, okay, I got to see Korn before everything shut down. So I was just like, all right, I got my corn fix. I'm good to go. I got my vegetables. I got my serving of corn.
I got my helping of corn. Now you just need some green days, and then you're good.
No, I'm surprised you said Machine Gun Kelly, actually, because I was thinking you were going to say something like Nine Inch Nails or Metallica, because I would love to see Metallica at Rocklahoma. I don't know if they've ever played it, but I would love to see that.
They're going to be exclusive to those Danny Wimmer festivals, so you'll see them on Rockin' the Range and Louder Than Life, and I think because they were committed to them before the shutdown, and so it's like you won't see them on anything for at least another year, which is fine. But I'm excited to get to see 2 nights of them at Louder Than Life, and Nine Inch Nails is definitely one of the bands that I'm a little sad, is it? But I'm not surprised. They don't play a lot. And I would have loved to see Rage Against the Machine also. And I really thought that they were going to hit a couple of these festivals. And I guess they must be holding out to 2022.
Yeah, I did too. I kind of had the idea that there was going to be some kind of reunion show. And I think we're kind of getting it. The Phil H. Anselmo and the Illegals. I feel like people are underappreciating what that is. It's they perform a vulgar display of Pantera. So it's basically Phil Anselmo and the Illegals doing a Pantera set on their entire go. So I feel like that is being underappreciated by people who are looking at the lineup and going, it's okay. I was like, you're getting Pantera basically. Like, not obviously like half of Pantera, but you're getting a Pantera show. And I think that's going to be awesome with Philip.
Yeah, it's just funny. I don't remember what the festival is. It's going to upset me. I'll remember when we're done, probably. There is a festival somewhere that has like 3 days worth of acts, and he's playing this festival. But then the next day, every single day of the festival, they have a cover band opening. So like one day it's the Foo Fighters. It's a Foo Fighter cover band. The day after he plays, there is a Pantera cover band opening. And I'm like, why? Like, why would you go see the cover band when you could actually go see him the day before?
Band, yeah.
Yeah, like, what are you doing? And I don't remember what festival it was. I want to say it's one of the ones in Alabama. I don't remember. There's been so many announcements.
It's in Alabama. That makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not going there for any amount of money. Sorry, corporate. You didn't hear that. If our bosses
are that's right. I forgot our corporate headquarters were in Birmingham. I'm kidding. Alabama's
I'm just
great.
kidding. Alabama's nice. Please
roll Tide. War
I think
Eagle.
our bosses don't work there, though. Or no, one of our boss works there, but I think like the big bosses don't necessarily work there.
Yeah. I don't know if they're know if they're Auburn or Alabama fans. So roll Tide.
They're Alabama
War
fans.
Eagle. Okay, roll Tide. Roll Tide.
I think. I don't really know. If you don't get a raise next time, no, it's because of they're Auburn fans. So sorry.
Who would you say is like the most underappreciated artist on this lineup?
Motionless in White or Knocked Loose. I'm going to go with the band I was most excited to see, because I think Knocked Loose is one of those bands people have slept on a lot, and a lot of people don't know them and don't appreciate them yet. And I think that I think this next few years are going to be very big for them, especially once they release some new music. And just they're one of those bands, once you see them live, it just changes everything. They're definitely a live band.
I mentioned, Phil Anselmo, which I don't want to say that's the most underappreciated thing, but I feel like people are forgetting that this is basically going to be a Pantera show. Like, that's my only line on that. So I'm looking down the list and I see Jarrett Johnson. Do you know who that is?
Yes.
That guy, as far as I know, doesn't have any kind of like album or record out. I recognize his name first when he did the remix with Papa Roach.
Sure.
And it blew up. It was a massive, massive hit. Which, again, that's one of those that like it fell on the hip hop side of things. So rock radio never really latched onto it, and I feel like that was a missed opportunity. But Jarrett Johnson has been huge on YouTube and TikTok now. And I'm really intrigued to see what his show is going to look like, because I don't know much about the depth of his music. Yeah. But I know everything that he's put out there is really good. And it intrigues me that he's on this without Papa Roach, which means he's not going to be like, featured on other artist sets and stuff like that. No. Sometimes you get that. He's going to be there on his own. So I'm intrigued to see him, and especially 0936, because I love that guy. He's one of my favorite people. He's great. And one of the bands I think people are going to sleep on that is a older band that I'm kind of surprised but happy to see on there is From Ashes to New. I'm really excited to see them on there, but I think they're one of those bands that, like, unless you're around for their heyday, you may not be aware
of what's going on there. And I'm curious to see what they sound like now, because I saw them at Warped Tour like 15 years ago or whatever.
Right.
So it's like, I wonder how they've aged and how their live show is, but I'm sure it's great or they wouldn't have booked them.
They're considerably more mainstream now. They're on Better Noise, which is the same label as like Five Finger Death Punch. Papa Roach was on there. Papa Roach, I think, is done with Better Noise. I think they're on to a different label now, which might explain their absence from this festival, because there's a lot of Better Noise artists on here.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, and they're another band I would have liked to have seen also. So
yeah. But from Ashes to New, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised, because they just put out that new album this year. See, like now I'm getting uncomfortable because I'm standing. If you miss it at the beginning, I'm having to stand because my stool is broken. So now I'm getting antsy. All the coffee's kicking in too, so I'm getting jittery.
You're like, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Let's go. I'm ready to go to Rocklahoma now. But yeah, man. This is going to be, I really think people are kind of underselling this lineup, because it's like big headliners, handful of cool mid cards, and then there's a good chunk, about halfway down where you're just like, some people. But like, I recognize the lowest name I recognize on this list is, like, I've heard of Dead Metal Society. They played Rocklahoma before, but Liliac is the lowest name on that list that I recognize. That's the kid band that she does incredible Iron Maiden covers. Iron Maiden, Judas Priest. They do Black Sabbath. It's a kid band. They're all teenagers. And I think only maybe 2 of them are over 18, maybe like 19. I think that the girl that sings is maybe 20. But they're a force to reckon with. I'm pretty intrigued to see them. And then everything below that's interesting to me. I'm curious. I'm gonna have to look most of those up.
There's a few I don't know, but that's always the fun of festivals, is discovering new bands. Because I think the first time I ever heard Dirty Honey was at a festival, and so I remember like I was wandering around. They were like mid-afternoon at Louder Than Life, and I had heard of them, so I kind of wandered over to see what it was about. And it's like, there's so many times that I've wandered on a band and been like, what is this? And it's like, I think that's one of the best things about these festivals is if you go into it, I don't know who this is, they must suck, blah, blah, blah. You will find 3 new favorite bands every single time without fail.
Yep.
And I love that they give those opportunities, and it's not just 4 headlining bands and then move on.
That's Fever 333 was one of those bands for me. Like I liked them, but I was just like, I don't know how this is going to translate into a live show. And then I saw them at Rocklahoma a couple years ago, and like when he takes that like 200-foot cord out with his mic out to the grandstand or the camera tower or whatever at Rocklahoma and was singing the last song from there, like the guitar player went out there too. Like it was fucking insane.
Dude, they're amazing. They're a crazy live band, and one of the very few minority bands in rock. And so it's like they should extra get amplified because of what they're bringing. Because there's a lot more bands with minorities coming into rock lately, especially in like band we mentioned a few weeks ago, Meet Me at the Altar and stuff like that. It's nice to see that we're being a little more open, letting people in. I love it. I love it.
I did an Altered View interview with Fire from the Gods, AJ Channer from Fire from the Gods, and he was talking a lot about that, which if you want to watch that, bing, right there. It's a great interview with AJ, and he talks a lot about, the stigma of like, oh, you have a black person fronting your band. It's not really a thing anymore. It's just like, oh, you have a band, your singer just happens to be black, or person of color or something like that. So like, it's a really interesting interview. I encourage you to go check that out. But yeah, Fever 333, that was a band that I walked away from Rocklahoma one year thinking, okay, this changed my mind. Pop Evil actually changed my mind about them at Rocklahoma a couple of years ago, because I had a really bad experience with them. It was a live show at the Diamond Ballroom in Oklahoma City, and I don't know if like they were having a bad day or if the sound guy was having a bad day or what, but it just sounded terrible.
Sure.
And I'm one of those that's like, if the live show is crap, I'm not going to have high hopes that you're going to be a big deal.
Well, no, because you can't go on tour if people aren't going to buy tickets if they go once and it sucks. So
right. So that was my first experience with Pop Evil, and then I saw them perform at Rocklahoma with my friend Derek Messer from the band Messer in Texas, and he came on and featured. I think it was on Footsteps. But Lee is like out in the crowd being held up by people, just screaming, like singing his guts out. And like that whole performance was off the rails incredible. Completely changed my perception on Pop Evil. So like I loved him, and then I hated him because I saw that live show that was really bad, but it must have just been a bad night, because that next time I saw him at Rocklahoma just blew that out of the water.
It's way better.
Yeah.
Well, hell
So
yeah.
I'm very excited about this lineup. I hope you are too.
Yes, I can't wait. We're going to have a blast.
Yes. Oh yeah. And I think we mentioned earlier, we're going to be doing Limp Bizkit night. So bring your red hats or your camo bucket hats, or, bring your best Fred Durst attire.
Yes, make sure you have your red hat. You're ready to party, and we're gonna be rolling all the way through the night. So,
Luna, who are you most excited to see?
Oh, good answer, Luna. That was a great answer.
Grandson. She said grandson. That's awesome.
That's not what she said.
No, that's exactly what she said.
She said Limp Bizkit. Look at her little tiny red hat.
No.
See it? Look close. Look close. Tiny red hat. How cute is she?
Those are her leaves, Hardy. She just has red leaves.
Shh. Racist.
What about you, Gar Brooks?
He says, he's excited about Pantera. Look at his cowboy hat. What did you expect? Come on.
From Texas. He's got it.
He says, listen, hopefully he does a Garth Brooks cover. That's all I want.
Philip Anselmo basically doing a Pantera set covering Garth Brooks. I love it.
Yeah. He's going to do Friends in Low Places. It's fine. It's fine.
They are in Oklahoma, which is where Garth is from, so it makes sense.
Throwing it out there. Anything's possible. If I say it, maybe they'll hear it, and it'll be wished into the universe.
Will it happen?
Make it happen. Will it?
All right. I think that's going to wrap it up for the Sound Hole. By the way, if you're seeing this relatively soon after they announce the Rocklahoma lineup, we do have an opportunity for you to win some tickets. Download the T95 app in the App Store and Google Play. You're going to have a chance to win some tickets there just by downloading the app and just being in there and registering for that. Also, while you're in on that app, you can listen to all our on-demand content, past episodes of The Sound Hole, plus all of our other podcasts, including mine, Altered View, which is right here. Also, High Notes, which Hardy is a part of. That's going to be up in that corner. And then, what was the other one? This podcast that you're already listening to. You've already gotten to the end. So, I mean, you can listen to more. That's great. But you've already made it this far, so I think you're maybe aware. Yeah. And then
maybe, though.
And then all my other artist interviews, like I just did one with 0936, which is pretty awesome. We had to cut, when I did that interview, we had to cut a portion of it because he told me in that interview, hey, I'm playing Rocklahoma. You should come see me. And I was like, am I supposed to know that yet?
Am I supposed to say that yet?
Yeah. So
well, now you know. So
yeah, now I know for sure. And it's not a problem. It can be out there. But if you want to check out all the artist interviews, all the other podcasts we got, check that out on the T95 app. Also on the website, t95.com/the Sound Hole for past episodes of the Sound Hole. Also, all of our other podcasts and content, information, contesting. And Hardy and I are going to have an opportunity for you to win some tickets pretty soon.
And next week, we're going to eat chicken nuggets.
Yes!
Finally. I'm going to get my Wendy's showdown. I'm going to beat you, and I'm going to throw up on camera probably, and it'll be amazing.
We get paid, I think, at that time, too. So I'm going to have enough to buy me some chicken nuggets.
They're only $9.99 for 50. Come on.
I had to buy this cow tipping hat. It cost me a lot of money.
That's fair. It was worth it. That was a good investment.
I agree, 100%. I also bought a shirt that's too small for me, so it's going to make me go to the gym and buy a membership, so that's going to cost me more money, and yeah.
You can always give it to me. I'll wear it.
Fair enough, but I also...
It might be too big for me, though.
I'm also getting my tax return soon, and you know the Slaughter to Prevail masks that they have?
Yeah.
I may or may not have already put in an order for one of those.
Meatball! Good. I'm proud of you. I'm very proud of you.
Meanwhile, my truck sits out in the parking lot. I need to fix the tire and get the oil changed in it and give it a wash.
We're not talking about status of cars right now. That's embarrassing. We're not doing that. I don't have a cracked windshield and have it for 6 months. It's fine. Let's not talk about it. My insurance doesn't cover that apparently, so it's just going to have a crack forever. That sucks.
All right, now that we've aired our dirty vehicles out there, we're going to climb out of the Sound Hole. Thank you guys so much for listening to us. As always, check us out on YouTube. Follow our YouTube channel. Subscribe so you know when all of our videos go up, all of our artist interviews as well. Follow all the different podcasts that we have on the website. Download the T95 app in the App Store and Google Play. And thank you so much for sticking with us, even though we've kind of been inconsistent lately. But it'll get better. I promise it'll get better.
We'll work on it. Have a great rest of your day. Be safe.
Adios!
Later!